held in the Illinois Holocaust Museum, and this is the story of my family. Sugihara, the Consul General of Lithuania in 1940, acting out of his own moral conscience and at a great peril to himself and his family, signed 2,193 exit visas, saving Polish and Lithuanian Jewish immigrants from near certain extermination in Hitler's concentration camps. My grandfather was number 299 on this list. Mr. Sugihara was a hero, a point of light in a sea of darkness, a righteous rescuer, one of the focal points in the new world-class Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center. At a time when so many turned their backs on the atrocities surrounding them, the Japanese Consul General of Lithuania did the unthinkable, simply by listening to his conscience. Before Sugihara entered the picture, my grandfather, Bernard Salomon, was in Malava, Poland. After unsuccessfully attempting to transport his parents to safety after the Nazi invasion, Bernard was forced to travel alone by foot over barbed wire terrain on a 170-mile journey from Malava, Poland to Kaunas, Lithuania. But as the situation for the refugees became more desperate, Sugihara met with a delegation, including my grandfather's brother, at the embassy in Kaunas. He looked into the gathering sea of faces, and Sugihara took a morally courageous stand. Acting contrary to his government's orders, and at a great risk to his family and himself, he provided the 299th exit visa to my grandfather on July 30th, 1940, to permit safe passage by train through Siberia and by boat to Kobe, Japan. My grandfather later went by ship to Shanghai and on to Calcutta, India. But for the actions of this man, my grandfather would have surely died in a concentration camp, and my dad, my brother, and I would not be here either. My father often recalls one particular occasion of Sugihara's survivors at Town Hall in the Broadway section of Manhattan in 1994, when one of the speakers asked all those who were saved, directly or indirectly, by Mr. Sugihara to stand. And a sea of faces sprung up from all corners of the amphitheater, and literally chills went through the entire crowd. What a special moment it was for him. For me, understanding the actions of Mr. Sugihara and their implications in a world where one only needs to pick up the morning newspaper to see the horrific events going on in the Congo, Darfur, or any other hotspot, they have a great meaning and relevance today. The remarkable story of this Japanese diplomat who embraced people from A, an entirely different world, B, from all other walks of life, and C, in an entirely different religion from himself, became almost destitute after the war, needs to be told. When interviewed years later about his actions, Mr. Sugihara could not understand what all the fuss was about. He simply had a certain idea about what was right and what was wrong about fundamental values. If anything, he felt that he could act in no other fashion because it could not be true to his God. As is demonstrated in the Illinois Holocaust Museum, of which my father is a board member, Mr. Sugihara is living proof that there was goodness, love, and compassion in the world, even when we constantly saw the darkest side of human behavior. Mr. Sugihara dared to do what was right, and we are all the better for it. One of the principal themes of the Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center is, as the Talmud teaches, one person can make a difference. Consul General Sugihara personifies this, having risked his family and his own diplomatic career in the name of a greater cause, saving directly, approximately, 6,000 lives from certain extermination at the hands of the Nazis, as each name on the list could represent an entire family, and with later generations saving 300,000 and counting. A key element of the museum is also to be an upstander, to be a proactive force and agent for change. Consul General Sugihara exemplifies this quality as well. In conjunction with the opening of the museum, after 6 years in discussions and negotiations with the Japanese government, my father was fortunate to be able to go to Tokyo with Sam Harris, a Holocaust survivor and former president emeritus of the organization, to obtain and bring back the original cables which Mr. Sugihara sent to his government and their responses, as well as pages from the original list bearing my own grandfather's name and quite a number of our relatives' names. We had a very special ceremony at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the original documents were on display for the grand opening of the museum. As those cables depict, Consul General Sugihara operated out of moral courage. The cables depict his recognition that while he may have exceeded his diplomatic authority, he had to account to a higher authority, and he felt morally obligated to do so. As a result, thousands of people, including the entire Mir Yeshiva, the only yeshiva saved during World War II, were saved. The chief rabbi of Israel and the speaker of the Knesset in Israel were part of the group given a visa for life because of Consul General Sugihara and his family. The greater danger to a civilization is that of silence and inaction, as Martin Luther King said. Through his selfless actions, diplomat Shiyun Sugihara fulfilled one of the highest tenets of the Talmud. To save one life is to save humanity.
The tragedy of the past must be heard, but the ear